Hi, hello everybody. Agent Fire is here. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest, I have tried to record this video like 6 times across 4 different video styles, and I have just not been able to make it work. So I'm just going to give out my whole genuine feelings here, all my thoughts and how I feel about the game and my channel. Mostly because that I've kind of learned that I can edit a lot better than I can write a script. So this might run a little bit long, I might get a little bit rambly. I apologize. Just put this video in the background, listen to it while you do something else. Let's just get right into it. So Destiny Rising's beta ended on the 19th, and I've really spent the whole weekend thinking about it, going over my entire experience, what was just kind of honeymoon phase, and what actual merits the game has. So to preface all of this, obviously, any problems that I've had with the beta, and even things that I enjoyed about the beta, is all up to change. And that's for better or for worse. For all I know, when launch comes around, all of my issues have been entirely solved. However, what I can state is that the developers haven't made any official statements on changes that they're going to make, and the developers also didn't make any substantial changes while the beta was going on. Additionally, another thing that I can state is that most of the feedback that I have given was also shared by the other beta testers. There is a very unanimous message being sent towards the developers, which increases the chances of those changes actually going through. So the beta ran for 3 weeks. And the first week, I'd say, was probably the most rough, mostly because we were all in early game. We didn't really have access to a whole lot of different resources or characters. Most of us didn't even really know exactly how to play the game. While we did have experience with Destiny, there is enough different about this, and enough differences compared to even other gachas for there still to be a learning phase. The tutorials did do their job quite well. I could say that I didn't really have any issues needing to figure out what to do or really being lost, though that could also be due to the fact that I have a lot of experience in Destiny and also a lot of experience in gacha games. The UI was pretty good. I never really had any issues with it, getting lost in menus. There are a couple of parts that I feel like could use a bit of work, like the mod menu and also the player profile. However, it was mostly a smooth experience all the way through. As we were starting out, we were mostly spending our time progressing through the campaign and the story, essentially just seeing all the sights, experiencing all the things. The first campaign and the prologue were pretty rough to get through. They did their job for the most part. There were a couple of really good missions. However, the character writing felt really off. There were some pretty big issues when it came to dialogue and the voiceovers. And it was pretty obvious that I was playing a localized game. I didn't really gel with most of the characters in that first section of the story. They were all pretty forgettable and didn't really have much presence. Radagast was the most likable among them, and even then he's just been sort of there. You kind of get the impression that there's a bit more going on underneath the surface when it comes to Radagast. However, that's not really explored all that much. However, when it came to the second story in the Red Sea Rift, that's where things started to pick up a lot in terms of quality and overall experience. There was a lot more gameplay variety in that campaign, and I enjoyed the characters in there a lot more. The only one that I really had an issue with was Harrow, and it's more so just because she's kind of a plot device rather than an actual character. I don't know if the writing issue with some of the characters is more so just a problem with some bad localization, or if the original script is just as mediocre as that. Though, the Red Sea Rift did have a lot to like about it. It was filled with a lot of hype moments, and a lot of the characters, especially the villain, had some real presence. The main bad guy we fought reminded me of Gaul in the best way possible, while still maintaining enough of a presence for me to believe that he's not just some knockoff. In terms of my enjoyment of the story, I'd probably put it in the higher end in terms of Destiny campaigns. Though that's mostly just because there are enough bad Destiny campaigns that it really just like fills up that entire lower half. Now, when it comes to the gameplay is definitely the highlight of the game. Surprise, surprise. I mean, most people who play Destiny play it for the gameplay. They don't really play it for many other reasons. Those extra reasons are really just like little tiny things on top, or things that just get in the way of you do the runny, jumpy, shooty stuff. Now, it is kind of a watered down version of Destiny, especially when it comes to the build crafting. Each character is essentially just an optimized build, and there's not really any opportunity to build them any differently for a different purpose or a different role, apart from the one that they were originally crafted to be. The artifact system was a pretty big disappointment in that sense, because the only thing that the artifacts really do is just increase the numbers of what your character is already doing. Even the exotic effects are really just extra situational or powerful bonuses to your character, and don't really get you to play any differently than you normally would, or increase the build variety that really just doesn't exist. However, I will say playing the characters is really fun. I didn't really dislike playing any of the characters at any time except for maybe Caber. Any issues that I really had with the character were more so just to do with numbers rather than anything else. Now, another big positive about the game are the social features, which really got me to enjoy it a lot more than I probably would have otherwise. There are plenty of games like this out there without social features that are enough to stand up on their own as more of like a solo experience, Wuthering Waves being a good example from my play experience. However, I will say that even in those games, I feel that social features like this would greatly enhance those experiences. All of the different chats, the seamless social spaces, the stat showcases on your profile, the ability to share your characters and your weapons inside of the game chat is also really nice, because if somebody wants to know like, hey, how do you have your character set up? Hey, how do you do so much damage? You can just send that to them in a direct message. Or if you just want to brag to people, you can just send it right their way. Be like, hey, check out this super cool exotic that I got. All within the game. In fact, the social features of the game were so good that my clan didn't even bother building a Discord until the last third of the beta, and that was simply just so that we could all stick together when the launch came around. Pair that with in-game voice chat, a robust ping system, and a Fireteam Fighter that is built into the matchmaking system itself, and it makes for a really good multiplayer experience even as a solo player. Even though there were probably at most a little more than 1,000 players in the beta at any given moment, I rarely ever had any issues as a solo player gathering up into a team or joining a squad in order to tackle the harder activities. Now, when we get to the end game, this is where I started running into a bit of some issues. I was expecting the end game to progress slower than the main story progression. There almost always is some grind of leveling up your character and fully equipping them in order to actually beat the end game. What I wasn't really prepared for is just how slow it would be to fully build a character, and the steep requirements for fully completing the endgame itself. What really helped is that the free main character Wolf was actually really good at the game. He had a very robust loadout and a very robust toolkit, with some of the highest damage multiplier in the game across all characters. And the most that the other characters really had over him was the fact that they could equip weapons that he couldn't, or they had more support abilities that Wolf didn't have. But as a highly versatile, multi-purpose character, Wolf was a real treat to play. So, the big deal when it came to Endgame itself was the fact that they introduced a whole lot of resources that you were not able to gather beforehand. Across level 1 to level 70, you're basically using the same bundle of resources all the way through, only introducing mythic weapon cores, I believe around level 70. But then, upon reaching level 80, you have another set of weapon cores that are required to get the max level of weapons. You have another weekly lockout upgrade material for your character's abilities. Your artifacts are given the ability to level up. You're given weapon mods, which were locked prior to this point. And all of this is matched with a very steep power spike across all of the endgame activities. Now, the way that power level works in this game is rather weird. It scales really steeply, really quickly. If you are just 1,000 power below the recommended, the power scales really aggressively in the fact that even just one singular increase in power can be the difference between one-shotting a red bar and two-shotting a red bar. And this is coupled with the fact that at this point in the game, every single upgrade to your character is more expensive than the last, requiring more resources to invest and more time spent building a character. In order to have actually fully cleared the endgame, I needed basically an entire month or more worth of resources funneled just into Wolf, and that was just to barely get the clear, not even to really excel. And at that point of progression, if I wanted to build him all the way, it probably would have taken me another month, if not more, to get the rest of the materials in order to fully upgrade his exotic and his weapon mods. The amount of materials that you're able to obtain on a regular basis is just simply way too low, especially because almost every single endgame material that you need to level up your character is on a weekly lockout, with the only other ways of obtaining them being through the black market, which essentially just pushes you into spending. That endgame economy is definitely the biggest issue with the game, aside from the general lack of polish. I don't believe that the game would have really lasted all that long if it launched in the state that it was in the beta, which isn't to say that I didn't enjoy my time in the beta. I actually really enjoyed it in spite of all the issues that I ran into it, and it's why I stuck with it the entire time. It's precisely because I enjoyed the game so much that I am so critical of these flaws. Those few weeks of the beta were definitely the highlight of my whole year. The best way I could really describe it is it was kind of like summer camp, in the sense that I went there, didn't really know anybody in there, met some people, formed a group, and we spent the whole time doing different activities. Though the summer camp analogy does come full circle in the sense that I was really ready for it to be done in those last few days. I'm still planning on fully covering the game when launch comes around, and I'll definitely make some videos covering any news that comes out, along with speculating or discussing things around the game. However, I obviously won't be able to make enough videos to really fill up all that time, especially because it's now no longer even online. It's why I hadn't uploaded nearly as much, though part of that is because this video was taking up so much of my time and effort to develop, and I've also been trying to come up with other ideas for content. And that gets me into more about the future of this channel going forward. If you've seen some of my recent videos, like the PvP video, the Legendary Campaign video, and my most recent video with my rather unfortunate experience on that final run of the Expanse that I was trying to get, that video style is probably what's going to fill the majority of my uploads until the launch of Destiny Rising. So give those videos a watch if you haven't already, and if you like the style, definitely stick around. If you don't like that style, maybe tune out for a bit. I'm definitely not planning on slowing down at all when it comes to the content. I'm going to try my best to release a video 2 to 4 times a week, but there are also some major changes coming with my life. One, I actually got hired to be a video editor for another channel. Honestly, I'm pretty happy that other people have liked my editing style enough to actually pay me to edit their videos. Though another thing is that I'm actually due for a job. I've technically already been hired for almost 2 months now, and I haven't been processed through their system quite yet. So until that happens, I'm going to be going as hard into YouTube and my channel as possible. The next video I upload after this one's probably going to be a repo video. I'm going to do my best to really refine my editing style, and I really hope that you guys enjoy the content and keep watching, because ultimately that is my job here. It is to entertain you in whatever way possible. If you've been a regular viewer of my channel and haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is the best way to support this channel. If I unlock monetization, that'll really enhance my capabilities for creating videos. Every single cent that I earn off of YouTube, I'm just going to feed right back into it. Better setups, better equipment, better software, also that I can just keep increasing the quality of the videos that I put out. Apart from watching my other videos, as well as liking and sharing them with your friends, just post some comments, giving any thoughts that you have, whether it's praise, criticism, or suggestions. I mean, if there's a game that you guys are really interested in, go ahead and shout it out on any video. I read every single comment. I try to reply to as many of them as I can think of a reply to. Some of you guys post some confusing stuff, but honestly, I'm here for it. And to reiterate, I'm not going anywhere. This channel is an obsession to me. I started making videos, and honestly, I just can't stop. The video that came out before this one wasn't actually supposed to even happen. I was planning on originally just cutting down some clips to share with my friends, to really just show just how bad of an experience of it that I had, but I just kept enhancing it further and further until it became what you see now. And even still, I don't even think it's perfect. I still think that I can do better with my future videos, and that's just going to be my entire goal. Just keep getting better with every single upload. I really do want to make it big, but I also know that I need to put in the work to actually earn it. People don't blow up overnight without really deserving it, because they either found something that was really interesting, or they were able to refine what they do so well that people were like, wow, I'm gonna watch this guy over everyone else. And anybody who strikes it big without really offering anything, substantial, just kind of fall by the wayside. And I really don't want to be that kind of guy. I don't want to be the kind of guy who's only known for one type of video, who's only known for covering one game, or even only known for one type of content. I really want to expand, branch out, and ultimately just do whatever I can to keep creating content. If you stuck it to the very end, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. I'm gonna try to cut this video down as best as I can. There's definitely a lot of stuff that needs to get cut, but I really just wanted to make this as genuine as I could, and again, every single other way that I really tried to make this just didn't work at all. So, stick around, there's more to come, and it's only gonna get better from here. I'll see you guys next time.